We are talking Middleton girls lacrosse, Wanakee girls lacrosse, and also we're going to get in shape doing some CrossFit, all on this episode. But first up, it is the headlines. They are powered by the Red Zone over on Regent Street and Conant Automotive in Stoughton. Stick around. Headlines next on the sports news on 57 Sports. All right, time now for the headlines. You're looking at the checks, hits, tackles, and dunks that make up the local sports scene. I am Rich Reynolds, and as always, let's hit the ground running. You know, we haven't checked in on the Badgers men's basketball team in a while. After a heartbreaking exit in the Sweet 16 against Florida, the headlines have mostly consisted of Nigel Hayes and Willie or won't he get drafted, and Bronson Koenig's ankle, which was hurt during a workout in Milwaukee. But this is a team that is losing 4 starters. Yeah, 4. Koenig, Hayes, Vito Brown, and Zach Showalter. They won't have too much time, though, however, to cry over that, as Wisconsin is going to host Xavier November 16th at the Kohl Center. This was just announced, by the way. The Musketeers, as you might remember, were the second-seeded team that Bucky knocked out on their way to the Sweet 16 this year. The highly hyped Tilt will be part of the 2017 Gavitt tip-off games. Well, believe it or not, spring is starting to come to an end. Seems like it comes and goes way too quickly. And with the end of spring comes the end of the school year. And around here, it means we have to start wrapping up some conference titles. So let's start in the Badger Conference, where boys tennis was taken by Wanakee in the north and Madison Edgewood in the south. In the Big 8, it's Verona that cruised to the title behind the play of Will Tennyson. In boys golf, Middleton got by Verona in a playoff to win their 4th straight Big 8 conference title. Now, for other champions, check out our scroll and the websites listed at the end of our headlines. We've been used to the Madison Radicals being dominant in the regular season, even posting a perfect record last year before falling in heartbreaking fashion in the semifinals. Well, this year, after stubbing their toe early, the Rads improved their record to 4-1 by trouncing their rivals from Pittsburgh 31-25, and in the process, scoring their most goals in a game in nearly a year. Next up for the Radicals, they got a couple of home tilts at Breese Stevens Field. And you know, here at 57 Sports, we have been following the path of the chosen few MMA fighters very closely. In fact, check out our YouTube channel for a ton of their fights. Now, although the chosen few won't be back out at Monona Terrace and on 57 till the fall, their fighters will be busy and soon. June 24th at the Milwaukee Theater, Mark Lemminger will battle Frank Schumann in an epic main event, and Alex Easy Polizzi will face his toughest challenge yet against Josh Moody. I have a feeling that results from that card will definitely affect Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 12. Well, for all the 411 on our headlines, check out these fine sites. Stick around, interview time next on the sports news here on 57 Sports. You know, whenever I think of rock climbing, being the old guy that I am, I'm reminded of a classic Seinfeld episode where it's Kramer and George trying to pass sandwiches down to Tony and he falls and all that. I'm sure rock climbing, there's a lot more to that. And in that spirit, we'll bring in Keith Kobisa and he'll tell us more about it. He's with Summit Strength and Fitness. And Keith, thanks for joining us. And if you could, try to explain to everybody what makes rock climbing such a unique sport.
It's really, it is a big physical challenge. You have to use your whole body. It's not just about pulling yourself up the wall, but it's also a huge mental challenge. Keeping yourself on the wall. And there's a lot to think about, a lot that can get in the way of your mind.
Yeah, I would, it's one of those sports where definitely it could play mind games on you. And so that's something that you would have to learn as you go along, and something hopefully you guys will be able to teach. And as far as the significance of Summit Strength and Fitness, what is that in regards to the growth of the sport?
So climbing is going to be in the Olympics in 2020. So there's a lot of people getting interested in what's climbing all about, since it's going to be in the Olympics. And so at Summit, we're taking it and treating it like any other sport. It's used to be so individualized where you would just kind of go leisurely climb. But our facility, we're treating climbing like a sport, whereas you're coming in to practice and train just like you would if you were on a collegiate football team, very structured to our approach to climbing.
So obviously it's a competitive sport, and then how do they judge it? Is that just on time alone? Is it judged? How does that work?
Each discipline's a little bit different, but the main focus, what we're focusing on is called the discipline called bouldering, which you're climbing without ropes. You're not going that high, and that's based on difficulty. So there's set routes, set problems, we call them, and it's basically whoever can climb the hardest problems.
Now, is Summit Strength and Fitness a place where only rock climbers are going to go, or can anybody get involved?
No, we welcome anyone, all athletes, all non-athletes, anyone that just wants to get in shape. We take other athletes and maybe put them on the wall sometimes to challenge them in a different physical way. We just use the wall as a different tool, a fitness tool for people to stay in shape and enjoy themselves while doing so.
Now, for those that are getting into rock climbing, where could they go, do you think, outside of the gym to further their skills?
Yeah, so just north of us is Devil's Lake. It's about a 45-minute drive, and that has some of the best outdoor rock climbing in the Midwest. And as much as I love the gym, because I created it, I also love getting outside, and I encourage all my clients to get out there and climb and take what they learned in our controlled environment and bring it to the real rock and enjoy nature.
Absolutely, and a beautiful place to go. We got about 15 seconds left. Is the sport gaining in popularity, Keith?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of big events that have been happening at Devil's Lake, bringing people in from all over the country to check out the sport.
Cool stuff. Check it out. Keith with Summit Strength and Fitness. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Brought to you by Conan Automotive, taking care of you by taking care of your family's car. All right, let's shine a light on girls varsity lacrosse. That's right, lacrosse, we see it. If you watch it on ESPN, it's big, especially on the East Coast. It's been gaining popularity here in the Midwest as well, as we've been talking about that. And we bring in right now Ann Gravel, Abby Drake. They are the head coach and senior captain of Middleton's lacrosse team. And ladies, welcome on in. And if you could, tell everybody, how's the spring season going so far?
It's been a great season. We just wrapped up our regular season play with a record of 14-2, and back-to-back undefeated champions of the Madison Conference, which is our Madison Area Lacrosse Association Conference.
Wow, beautiful. 14-2. That's a lot of success there out on the field. So what makes this team, do you think, so successful?
There's so many factors that play into it, but I think most importantly, the girls come to practice every day to learn and to get better, and that just makes my job as a coach so easy and so rewarding.
Yeah, especially when anybody's that engaged and wants to play and is out there and trying to get better and improve all the time. That's great. So if you could, how would you describe this year's team? What sums them up?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, we have a really great group of experienced girls who have been playing together for a while. So it's great also to have some underclassmen coming up every year to replace the upperclassmen and take on some new roles. Also, the group is just super supportive of each other, so I think overall it's just a really bonded, great group of girls to be with.
Love to be in a team atmosphere like that and be cohesive. Who are some of the names, the players that have made significant impacts for you on your 14-2 season?
Well, I'll take that one. Abby Drake, first and foremost.
That's an easy one, come on.
Abby's got so many strengths on the field and off the field. She really does help us become a better poised team. She's a prolific scorer. She leads our conference right now. Before our last game on Friday, she was at 51 goals for the season.
Wow.
Yeah, so that makes my job obviously a lot easier. But she has a full team supporting her. We've got some outstanding midfielders, junior Eleanor Mackey and sophomore Julia Furmanek really kind of do the dirty work. And then we've got some Abby's other tri-captain senior cohorts, Mia Aker in goal and Gabby Ballweg on defense. Really just pull it all together for us.
Excellent. So how is the team poised for the playoffs and then the state tournament?
We're currently 5th in the state rankings, and as Coach mentioned before, we are MELA champs, which is our local conference. So really, for the next week, we're just hoping to get some good practices in and then stay energized and excited for whatever is to come in playoffs.
And how do you build on the strengths? What's the major strength of this team?
I think the hustle on the field outweighs any team. Every single game, from the first whistle to the buzzer, everyone is working as hard as they can to do everything that they can to get the win or energize teammates. and it's just a really great energy every single time you're on the field.
Excellent stuff. We'll be watching you in the playoffs. Ladies and Abby, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.
You know, we talked about a little bit in the headlines about the seasons that are wrapping up in high school sports all over the state. Golf, tennis, baseball, softball, and yes, even track and field getting wrapped up here as we bring in Drew Slumkus, Sydney Peterson, head coach and senior captain, Madison Memorial Track and Field. And welcome on in, guys. And we'll start with Sydney over there, who is a senior and finishing up everything. So Sydney, you've been in athletics. How has high school athletics, being a part of the track team, kind of, impacted your student experience?
Well, it's really taught me time management very well because I have to go right from school to track practice until 6 o'clock, and then I basically shower and I eat dinner and then do my homework for the rest of the night. It's also taught me to push myself very hard and try my best always.
That's good stuff. That discipline's so important as you go on, no matter what you choose to do in life. Coach, every season kind of unfolds a different way. What have been some of the storylines of this year's team?
I think this year we were a young team, a lot of freshmen that came in, and were able to contribute right away. We were able to build off of our conference performance, which was 4th place last year at the Big 8 Conference. Finished up overall 2nd this year, so that was a big improvement for us as we're still trying to march on to that top spot. And then our relays were a big improvement. We're trying to build a culture of a team here over at Memorial, and two of our top finishing performances over at conference were our 4x1, 4x2 relay, which won it, put some times onto the state honor roll, and then our 4x8 and our 4x4 relays were both 2nd place, putting honor roll times up as well. So building that team culture, building off our successes from the year prior, and continuing to move forward into future seasons.
Well, Sydney, you just heard your coach talking about it as track and field as a team sport. I think so many of us think of it as individual events. How is track and field a team sport?
Well, of course, there's the relays, so it's really nice to share the track with my teammates, and I love that. And we also, of course, the entire team trains together and we push each other in practices, and I really wouldn't be able to be the athlete I am today without my team pushing me and encouraging me.
Yeah, you talk about the relays. How do you approach an individual race different from a relay?
Well, I approach them very similarly. I warm up the same and I treat it the same for both a relay and an individual event, but I have more fun with relays just because my team's around me. It takes a little bit of the pressure off, and I don't know, I just have more fun with it.
Nice. And now, Coach, we got about 20 seconds left. If you could, a quick preview of the state competition.
For us, again, it's going to be about trying to get our relays down. We have regionals on Monday and into the sectional meet on Thursday. Looking to try to get all 4 relays down, and then some of our individuals, 100, 200, 800, 2-mile, discus, triple jump, high jump. So we're trying to cover the track and field and get as many athletes down as we can.
Good luck with all of that. Coach Sydney, thanks for joining us so much.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.
It seems on this show that the ladies have dominated it so far, so let's keep that theme going. Absolutely love as we bring in Sarah, Emma, Chloe, and Nikki. They are all part of the Wanakee girls lacrosse team. And welcome on in, ladies. And let's start about this past season and talking about that. What are some of the accomplishments that you've achieved this season?
This season we've really worked hard and we've put all our effort in. And I think one of the coolest things we've done is we only lost by 1 to the #1 team in the state, which is University School of Milwaukee. The score was 6-6, around 2 minutes left, and then they just scooted 1 goal in near the end. So.
Wow, and that's an excellent season, and it still seems though like even when you have that much success, there's obstacles that come along. So what do you think was the biggest obstacle that your team had to overcome? How did you manage it?
Yeah, so we've had quite a few injuries this year, which was a great opportunity for JV to step up. So a lot of girls from JV stepped up and filled in our positions. And also, there were other girls on the field that got to play other positions. So, if you normally attack, maybe you would play midi, or even attack would go to defense sometimes.
Now, girls lacrosse at Wanakee is a fairly new program. How has it evolved so far?
We used to only have basically 1 varsity team, but now we have a solid varsity and JV team. And in the Madison area, we have a lot more clubs that are available to our girls to play.
Oh, very cool. Now, I also notice when I watch lacrosse, I see the difference between teams that play on the East Coast, teams that play on the West Coast. When you girls travel outside of Madison, do you see any changes in how the game's played?
Yeah, so in the Madison area, it's kind of a newer sport to us. So when we go to like the Milwaukee area and play those Waukesha, Arrowhead, USM, their playing is a lot faster. Their stick skills are a lot more on point, and they contain the ball a lot better, and they go to goal. So when we play teams like that, we really have to step up our game and get to their level so that we give them a good competition.
Yeah, that's a real good observation. It seems like with sports, when they're in an area longer, the skill level is definitely a lot higher. So I'd like to ask too, you all do this, you have to balance academics and athletics. How do you do that? What are some of the challenges with balancing that?
Honestly, it's just finding time to do both, because we do get a lot of schoolwork and we do want to put 100% into all our practices and their long practices. So it's really just finding that balance.
Yeah, which sometimes is so hard to do. And ladies, with lacrosse being a spring sport, what does out of season prep look like?
So actually this year we had 9 weeks of preseason, which was actually really nice. And it was kind of challenging too, but we would have lifting, preseason practices, conditioning, and it really showed who's dedicated to this sport and who really wants to do good.
Absolutely. Ladies, good stuff. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, thank you.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.
All right, we got a new guest now here on the Sports News. I almost think we should have like a breaking news sounder or something coming in. Always good to have new faces on and new people as we bring in Jeb Simmons. He is the owner of CrossFit Fort Atkinson. And welcome on in, Jeb. And if we could, talk a little bit about, hey, what is your business? Where are you guys located?
CrossFit Fort Atkinson. We're located in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. We're a CrossFit gym.
Okay, so a CrossFit gym, what does that actually mean for someone who's never done CrossFit?
CrossFit entails a little bit of everything. We weightlift, we do body weight movements, we run, pretty much anything we can do in a gym, we do it there in some sort of fashion, whatever we can kind of mix together and make into a workout.
Now, from the outside looking in, if I'm looking to get into shape, I'm thinking, boy, it's something I haven't tried before. It might be tough to do. Now, is this something that anyone at any kind of fitness level can get involved with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have everybody from high school students up to people that are in mid-60s that do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely for everybody.
Yeah, if you have to describe what a typical member is, so the biggest section, a group of people that you have in your gym, what's a typical member like?
Just your average person that's looking to be in shape, trying to figure out how to be healthy inside the gym and outside the gym.
So now for your gym and for when people come in, it seems like you're gonna wanna set goals for people as they go along. Do you go over a fitness plan with each member?
We try to figure out what each member is kind of, exactly what you said, what their goal is. We have competitive members that go compete. And like I said, we have some that just want to come in and be healthy and do a workout for an hour and be done for the day. So
yeah. Speaking of competition, you got a competition coming up, don't you? The CrossFit Games are coming to Madison in August.
Yes, they are.
And what are you going to be doing there? How does that all work? What's the story behind that?
CrossFit Games is kind of the pinnacle of where you want to get if you're a competitive CrossFit athlete. It starts out with an online competition in March for 5 weeks, and then we have either regionals or a qualifier weekend, and then from there the top 20, for my age group, the top 20 guys in the world end up at the CrossFit Games, and I happen to be one of them this year. So.
Wow, and the only one from Wisconsin, I understand as well. So it's going to be interesting. As we go along, we do more interviews with you. I'd love to delve into that, what that actually means, and more about your gym as well, as I'm sure that we'll get to do in the coming weeks. Jeb, nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We focus in on athletes of all different kinds of sports around here and some that are exceptional and kind of stand out. I think this is way cool. How would you like to be a 13-year-old, yes, 13 years old, and drive a super truck and super late model in the 2017 season? That is way cool. Let's bring in Colin Slife, who is doing that right now. And Colin, I know people are going to want to know, hey, how long have you been racing for? So how long have you been behind a wheel?
I've been behind a wheel and, well, anything with a motor in it for at least now 10 years. Wow. I started out racing snowmobile 120 grass. I won and got a lot of accomplishments there. And then we went to bandolero car racing. And for 3 years, we stayed in the top 3 for state championship. Last year, we finally got the state championship. Now, last year was my first race in the super truck, and we did pretty good. So this year, we'll be going into the super late.
Wow, that is some amazing experience that started when you were like 3 years old then. So, I mean, that's like a Tiger Woods kind of a story. So I think that's a real cool thing. So now you're getting into asphalt racing, and this is, where I think a lot of the big boys are. So what made you get into asphalt racing?
Actually, when I was little, I started out snowmobile racing, and from there we progressed, and I've got, the championship over in Heydays. There was that the biggest crash drag race in the world, and I won there, and that was pretty much my set goal. So from there, we went to the person we bought the snowmobile from, and he had a bandolero car sitting in a shop, and I took a liking to it, and I really wanted to pursue my dream there. So we went down to North Carolina, bought my first bandolero car, started the driving course, and went from there.
Wow, that is very cool. So you got some accomplishments in racing then, don't you?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you definitely have won some stuff. So let's talk about this year. What are you going to be racing? Where are you going to be racing?
This year I will be racing a super late model at Dells Raceway Park, Plover, Jefferson Speedway, and State Park Speedway.
Wow.
And I'll also be racing the super truck here and here.
Wow, so you're going to be all over the place. Are there any of those tracks that you've run before that you kind of like more than the other?
Yeah, I've ran all of them, and for sure my most favorite is Dells Raceway Park.
Now, why is that?
It's the most fun. It's the best banked. It's fastest track. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think when I talk to people about racing, they love the banks and how if they could go faster.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. So Colin, what can we expect from you this season running those super truck and super late models?
I hope to get quite a few wins. I mean, starting out in the super late, I'm going to start not as fast as everybody else, of course. But in the super truck, we have our experience, we have our setup, we have the truck dialed in. Hopefully we can get a couple wins. If not, we can bring home maybe the Rookie of the Year in the super late or the super truck.
Excellent goals. Colin, great stuff, man. Good luck this season. We'll be watching you.
Appreciate it.
All right, a big thank you to all of our guests that came on the program today. Thank you, of course, to you for watching as well. We always appreciate that. And a special thanks to our sponsors for keeping us on the air, including the Red Zone over on Regent Street and Conant Automotive in Stoughton. We'll see you all next time here on the Sports News on Wisconsin's 57 Sports.